What's up? This is Critical Me. I'm Mitchell. This is Eric. We saw Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps, which was the sequel to Wall Street. It was also directed by Oliver Stone, although he didn't write or co-write this film. It was based
Which was
on...
apparent.
Well, I don't know. What do you mean by that? I think his influence was all over it in terms of the story.
I think it was, but I think as far as the casting went, I had some problems with story casting. Like, this movie definitely had problems.
We'll talk about the story. Focus on the story. I thought, you definitely feel Oliver Stone's influence in terms of he clearly wanted to provide a sort of overarching political common thread that involved, like, nefarious machinery of the big banks in collusion with, like, the big power brokers politically of the world, and, like, the present administration, which was the Bush administration at the time, and
I think it was, like,
all this
trying
other
too
stuff.
hard on so many different levels with the story, like, too many stories going on. Like, some stories were captivating me, and then other stories, once they came on, I was just like, I couldn't wait till that scene ended, and you could get back to a story that I wanted to know more about.
I agree. I think there was actually too much depth or too much time spent on all these different sort of tertiary branches of the main narrative arc, and you wound up sort of spending a lot of time in places that weren't really moving the overall story forward, and
So
that
what do you
it
rate
got
the story?
distracting.
What do you rate it at?
For that reason, I'd give it a 4 on story.
Dude, I have to agree, man. Like, you actually, I don't know if I was gonna rate it that low. I thought I was gonna definitely be lower than you with it. I really don't want to hate this movie, but I'm kind of right there with you. I think it's like a 4 or 5, but I'm gonna be generous.
You can give it a
with
5.
I'm gonna be.
We'll make up for it in other areas.
I
like that.
hated though, but the thing was, I hated some of the cast. Well, I'll give it a 5 for story.
Sounds good.
Someone reminded me I once said greed is good. Now it seems it's legal.
No matter how much money you make,
Mr. Gecko,
you'll never be rich.
So Artistry, I think in terms of artistry, like sort of the aesthetics, I found the film to be very aesthetically pleasing. I thought a lot of the settings, a lot of the editing choices. I know we were talking a little bit about some of these sort of montage sequences that involved kind of borderline cheesy graphics that all really worked for me for some reason. I really had a sense of like you're watching one of those, finance shows on CNBC or some shit, and it kind of seemed to fit. I liked it in that sense. I would give it a 7 on Artistry.
I really wanted to like it more. I'm gonna rate it a 6.
It's about the game.
I did tell you, Jake. I did warn you.
It's easy to get in. It's hard to get out.
is that a threat?
Absolutely.
All right.
And now, bringing up performance, Michael Douglas, like his opening scene where he comes back in, that was awesome. It was a pretty good monologue and what he went into, and
When he's speaking to the students?
yeah, and I really like that, the way they brought him back and whatnot, and but the Transformer guy, dude, I feel like it was a complete
What
fail.
is his name? Suni
Cherie
LaBeouf?
LaBeouf or whatnot.
Sharia?
Like,
Shia Suni?
I just think, like, I don't want to say
Shiloh?
I don't like the guy, but he is a certain type of character actor, and to me,
He's not a character actor. They're making him out to be like a big leading
yes,
man.
no,
I don't
that's
get
what
it.
I mean. He's more of a, can play this kind of character, and I feel like they're trying to push him too much. I felt like there's too many people in Hollywood that could have played that role and would have loved to have that role opposite.
I'll
that
say this. He played a character that was really sort of naive. Was kind of a rube. He was just like idealist who doesn't really know what he wants and is all tormented, and he was just in the end kind of vacuous and dumb. And he played that role really well. It seemed like
I didn't care about him. I didn't care about him. I wanted to not see him on the screen. It was that bad. And then you got all the politicians and everybody with the bankers, and then it would get real serious again, and then you kind of get into it again. You're like, this is great acting. And like, the people who he was opposite with, I just felt like their skill level was so high, and it actually made him more vulnerable of not having that many chops.
That Winnie chick, I didn't feel that at all. I don't know what her name is. I don't know what movie she's been in. She was not very good. I will say this.
He was worse though.
Yeah, he was definitely. Well, yeah. Frank Langella might get nominated for an Oscar for his role.
Supporting, right?
Yeah, of course.
I felt like he did a great job.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I think this is his best role since he was Nixon, and he was great great a couple years ago.
The other guy that I didn't like was I didn't like the bad guy who they typecast as the bad guy. I didn't think he
Josh Brolin? I thought Josh Brolin was awesome.
I thought he played an okay villain. I didn't like some of the scenes. We didn't talk about the scene earlier with the motorcycles, and there was just irrelevant.
Yeah, it was gratuitous.
They tried to make a relationship with this guy, and it just I wasn't buying it.
Well, he's the gecko of this film. He is the villain of this film in this new financial world.
I'm gonna rate it as a 5
for performances.
For performances, because
I can't go that low. I'll give it a 7.
That always scared me.
Pleased to meet you. Hope you get my name.
I know it sounds crazy,
Oh yeah.
but people change.
I'm trusting you with the nature of my.
He's not who you think he is, Jake. He'll hurt us.
Why don't you start calling me Gordon?
Vibe. You're the vibe man. Fill me in.
the vibe
With
was
your
like
vibe.
so hit and miss, hit and miss, hit and miss. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna rate it again at a 5 for the vibe. I really was not. The suspense fell completely flat. Like they tried to put it in there, and woo, I was not on the edge of my seat at all that movie.
I agree. Vibe, it gets a 4.
You got my attention. But when you don't know what you're doing, it's fatal, Mr. Moore.
So much you don't know, Jacob.
They took my life, and when I got out, who's waiting for me? Nobody!
This is not about the money. This is about you and me.
Entertainment value.
Entertainment value. I'm really sort of torn when it comes to the entertainment value of this film, because on the one hand it was intellectually stimulating and interesting and basically too complicated for its own good with all
Yeah,
of
you
these
laughed at
divergent-
stuff that I thought was like I did not find entertaining at all. Like you didn't laugh like hilariously, but the stuff
There
that
was
you laughed at.
there were some phenomenal one-liners in the film. It was very intelligent writing. The problem was there was too much of it, and it didn't really see any one particular story go
So what do you
to
rate?
fruition.
Would you spend the money to go?
Yeah, I would happily see it again. I mean, I would give it. Because we have this sort of these divergent views on it, and we have this kind of lively discussion. I think it goes to show that it was an entertaining movie and it was worth seeing. So I would give it a 7 on entertainment value.
I'm gonna tell you what, this movie I had such higher expectations and hopes for. Entertainment value, this is a rent it, and I know the studios are gonna hate hearing me say that and whatnot, but
They probably
You know?
actually don't care.
well, it's expensive going to see a movie, and to me it wasn't good enough to tell you to go run out and see it. There's too many movies in the theater, and I'm not gonna recommend this one. DVD, it's worth definitely $1 at the Netflix Redbox, or
I don't think Redbox is Netflix.
it's not, but
Sweet.
it's worth renting.
So I say see it. He says rent it. So Eric, what's your final score on that?
I'm gonna say another 5, dude.